everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Carla and I am the Stitchy Witch and I live in Scotland, and I'm so glad to be back and doing a video and reconnecting with my friends again. I have to say it hasn't been that long since I took a little break, but I have definitely missed you. I've missed a lot of you, and it hasn't even been that long, I think, since I took a break. I think it's only been 4 or 5 weeks, but it just feels like forever. So I was dying to come on and catch up with you and all the things that I've gotten up to. And yeah, so thank you for joining me today. And for those of you that are new, this is primarily about cross stitch, although at the end of this video I'm going to include some of the things which I do that are not cross stitch, such as reading, and I'm going to talk about the books that I've read, and also I'm going to announce the giveaway winners, because I did do a giveaway on my last video. However, I took a break and I just didn't get around to obviously doing a video to announce the winners or anything. But yes, now that's going to happen. So I was giving away 2 Needleminders, so I'll be announcing that at the end. So before I go into showing you what I've worked on, this isn't going to be a whip parade. I did think about doing a whip parade. However, I don't think I've got enough whips to merit a whip parade. I think because I primarily stitch what I want when I want, it tends to normally be just a cluster of projects that I work on and pick one out as and whenever I feel like stitching on it. So yeah, it just feels like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having loads and loads of whips, absolutely nothing wrong. I love watching so many whip parades that people have been putting up online recently, where they've had so many wonderful things to show, but I just cannot have an excessive amount of whips. It just, more about talking about that shortly. So yeah, so if you think it's a whip parade, it's not really, because I've only got in total, as in active projects, I've got 16 or 17, that's it in total, and that doesn't seem like a lot. In fact, it probably seems like very little to a lot of people, but to me it feels like a lot because my comfort area has always been maybe juggling about 3 or 4, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why I took a break, because I just got so befuddled in my head that I didn't know which ones I wanted to work on, which ones I should be working on, which ones I wanted to put aside. It gets so complicated, and it kind of gets entangled with your emotions and your mental health, and I don't know, it's just, it started to feel like that I was doing it just for the sake of doing it. And it happened because I thought what I would do is I would work a little bit on each whip and just maybe do a couple of 100 stitches on one, put it away, get the next one out, do another couple of 100 stitches, put it away. By the time I got to whip number 8 or 9, maybe even 10, it started to feel like a production line. Like if I was in a factory, maybe doing a stamping something, putting it to one side, getting the next item, stamping it, putting it to one side. That is how it felt. And I couldn't really feel the love for anything, because I just felt like, right, we've got to get this done, and then this done, and then this done, and then this done. And I seem to struggle with that a little bit, or I have struggled with that a little bit. Totally my fault for starting new things. However, it's always a constant battle for me to try and find my sweet spot when it comes to stitching. So what I did was I put a whole bunch of them away, at least half of them that weren't really calling to me, or I wasn't really bothered with too much. And I kept out, how many did I keep? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7. So a mix of old ones and new ones and my focus piece. And I thought, that's it. That is it for now. That might even be it for the rest of the year. You just have to look out for your, you know, your emotional balance, your mental well-being. You just cannot keep doing something for the sake of doing it. So even if it disappoints some of my lovely friends, some of you that are following a certain project, or sometimes I get asked, when are you going to work on this one? When are you going to work on that one? I don't know, is the truth. Ask me on the day, and then I'll tell you which one I'm working on. So basically, I have to be kind of spontaneous, but I can't be too random, and I can't be too rigid. So it's utter nightmare. But anyway, I think now I've got into a nice rhythm, because when I put something on my Lowry stand, I really start to get into it. And then sometimes I just don't want to put it away. And then I think, well, why am I putting it away if I'm really getting into it and I'm enjoying it? Does it have to be put away? I mean, I don't hear the other things crying like babies in the cupboard. So why do I have to put it away? And then I was watching a lady, and I just stumbled upon this video, and her channel is called, I'm going to have to put my glasses on now, or I won't be able to read. Her channel is called Snapdragon Life, and I'm going to link the video below, because I watched her and she really, really explained well how we can feel so much guilt for having unfinished projects, and the reasons behind why we feel guilty, and how social media contributes to that, because we feel like we constantly have to keep up with everybody else, and oh, they're doing so much work on so many things, I should be doing so much work on so many things, and there's that pressure. And I felt that when I was watching that, it really sort of made me think, I get this is kind of what's happening to me, that I was feeling guilty about not touching things for 3 months, 4 months, but then when I try to do that with everything, it just gets too much. So basically, cut a long story short, she's saying it's okay. It's actually okay to have unfinished objects, that the world's not going to explode, the fabric is not going to strangle you, the project isn't going to, haunt you in your dreams, hopefully. And that it's totally okay to, just to say, I really don't want to finish that right now. I'm not feeling it. It's not working for me. Just put it away. Just put it away. Get rid of it. Whatever makes you happy. Because at the end of the day, guys, life is too short. We don't even know if we have tomorrow, which is the truth. I've been hearing so many things on the news lately about people just suddenly dying in hot air balloon crashes, and the awful, awful Air India plane crash happened a couple of weeks ago, and some young girl just slid down into a volcano, and it's like she could have had 10 whips at home waiting for her. She's never going to get back to any of them. So just do what you love and enjoy it whilst you're doing it. And that's just really my thing. This is the reason why I stopped making so many plans, and I stopped doing all these little spin wheels and charts and everything. And again, I'm going to just reiterate, kudos to all those lovely floss tubes out there who are doing that and enjoying it. That is fantastic. But not everybody walks the same path, has the same needs. So yeah, so just sort of basically explaining to you where I've been going in the last month, that I've kind of been stepping back from it all and just stitching what I want, without additional pressures of having to come running back here to say, oh, I've done 1,000 stitches, without those additional pressures, and just treating it like the hobby it is, basically. That's all I wanted to do, as well as reintroduce some of the things I love, which I've just had been ignoring, sort of, which is like, the knitting, the reading, but also just getting out with my family, but on top of that, I haven't been very well in the last month. I've had stomach issues, and I've had just really, feeling a little bit roller coaster up and down, and also back issues as well. And I found that stitching for long periods of time is definitely, for some reason, giving me tension down my neck, giving me backache. And it's not like I'm sitting in any different positions than I used to. And I'm very aware of my posture when I'm stitching. I'm holding my head straight, and I've got my project right in front of me, so I don't have to lean forward, and I'm still getting the muscle in my shoulder blade starts to kill me. So I have to get up and do some stretching, and and then, because the weather's been so nice, it's been getting dark here really late, like 10 p.m. We've been going out, staying out, and going out for drinks. So all in all, it was about catching up with life and not just making cross stitch my entire life. I think that's really important for my mental health, because I find that if I feel like a slave to something, it starts to really wear me down. So enough of this now, because you're probably thinking, shut up, get on with the whips, whatever they are. But I think after 5 weeks of being away, I'm entitled to having a little bit of a chat about what's been going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you first the projects that I've actually worked on in the last 5 weeks or so, on and off. So these projects going forward are the ones I think I'm going to continue with. And I'm not going to say I'm going to work a few days on this one, a few days on that one. Basically, I'm just going to work on it for as long as I want to work on it, whether that's 1 hour, 1 day, or 1 week, or 2 weeks. It is what it is. Time for me now going forward is just, I'm going to go by how I feel. I'm going to forget what I should feel like I should be doing. I'm just going to go by how I feel. And if one of my projects stays on the Larry stand for a month, that's what it is. If it stays on for 10 minutes, that's what it is. I'm just going to go by, if I'm enjoying it or I'm not enjoying it, that's it. I don't really care. At the end of the day, this doesn't have any feelings. It's just fabric, and it's not going to cry for me if I put it away for 10 years. So this is just how I feel, guys. I mean, some of you might disagree, but you do have to, understand that everybody's different and we all have different needs, and we all have to each find what we enjoy and stick with that. So let me start with, you probably don't even remember some of these. I do have a new one, having said that, but it was actually a gift to me. So it's not like I purposely went and did a new stuff. I was gifted it by a friend, and it's only a smallish one. So I thought, hey, that's really cute. And I don't want to make them feel like I'm not, that I'm just going to put it away and forget about it. So I did put in a few stitches, and I probably will keep it out. And I also had another little restart, which I'll tell you in a moment when I get to it. So let's start with my biggest and my finest, which is, as some of you may know, called Riverwalk Charm, if I can find it. And this one is a Heaven and Earth design. It's on 25 count, was on 2/110 stitch. It is now 1/1 full cross because I changed my tactic, and I've changed everything to hoops now, because I found that I bought these 10-inch hoops, plastic hoops, which are fantastic. And I also want to have a go at trialing the, why is my face so dark? I have a ring light here. It doesn't seem to be doing its job. This, I would like to try the spring tension ones. I've not tried that. I've seen people using them, and I just think, oh, they look interesting, but they look like they might ping you in the face and cause damage. I don't really know how they work. So if they're any good, I might try those. But these work for me really well. They're like the Nudge hoops, which I also use. So this is a 10-inch one that I'm using for my Riverwalk Charm project. So I've only been working on one area on this one, and first of all, it would help if I showed you what it looked like, wouldn't it? Because yes, I know some of you haven't seen. So that's the Riverwalk Charm, and it's got the 89 colours, artwork by Ruane Manning. If I forget any details, please be gentle with me. It has been a few weeks. So I'm going to show you the overall where I'm at. I have to stand up here. This is where we are. I think it's looking magnificent. There is the fullness of it. So I had worked basically all that side, and then I started doing this side. So I have to move opposite to what I'm seeing. So what I've actually worked on can sit down again. See if I can fold this up into some semblance of. So what I've actually worked on is the buildings just there. Those buildings coming down really nice. So I didn't have any of this here finished when I last showed you. And we are now, if you bear with me a second, we are now at 54.86%. So there's a total of 382,900 stitches, and I have done 21,000 approximately. Sorry, not 21. Oh, that's ridiculous. 210,000 I've done. So that's a milestone, because I remember not long ago I was talking about how I'd hit the 200k milestone, and now I've hit the 210k milestone. I'm hoping there's enough light for you guys to see this. But yeah, this has been my focus piece for a while, but I think I was a bit premature at making it a focus piece because there's so much of it to do. I'm still kind of gonna bring this one out probably a bit more than the rest, but I'm not going to be so focused on it because I feel like maybe it's a good idea to just start doing that real focus thing when I get to about 80-85%, and then, you know, really hammer into it and try and finish it within a few months maybe. Because at the same point there does come a time when I do get tired of something and I do need to swap it out, and I feel, like I said, I'm just going to go by that inner voice telling me it's time to, you know, put your baby down in the basket, pick up another one. So that's the reward charm. So that one is going to be, yeah, staying in my routine. The next one is called Perfect Wisdom. I keep mixing up the name of this and calling it Perfect Whisper. I don't know why. And it's the owl story keep, but again by Heaven and Earth Designs. I'm at 14.32%. Started it not long ago. Where are you? Did I even bring it? Yes, I did. I'm going to put aside the ones I've already shown you, actually. Not a huge amount done on this one, and I've done about 8,700 stitches. That's what it looks like now. You can't see what I'm doing. I think his eye is looking great. So I'm coming down here. And this side, I'm going to continue with the 2/1 stitch. But down here on the actual owl, I'm going to do 1/1 full cross. Mainly because I'd started all this blue. I started all the blue background in 10 stitch. So I feel like there's no point doing that in 1/1 now, because she's going to double my time, and also I just feel like it's easy to just keep going. So I'm going to basically do the owl. I can't hold these things today. Basically going to do the owl in full cross. I'm going to struggle today. I think I've had all my words out and I'm going to struggle with the rest of them. And I do have a picture of what that looks like. It's not huge, it's only 150 by 409 stitches, but it does contain 90 colours, which I think is quite a bit. For some reason, it's not coming out very bright, is it? I might have to put some pictures up if this isn't working. Anyway, that one's staying in the field. In the stitchy field. I'm not kicking it over the fence, basically. And I enjoyed that one, although I don't know, lately I haven't been really drawn to it. But like I said, it is what it is. Coming up to 15% on that. The next one that I worked on is called Paris Romance. Now this one is an older one. This one I started 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 3. And I don't know, I don't get drawn towards it that often, but I do enjoy stitching it when I do actually get it out. Have you ever had that? You feel like, oh, I don't want to pick this up, I don't want to do it. And then as soon as you put it on the stand or you start stitching it, you think, why did I put it down? I'm really getting into it now. But this is Paris Romance, and I'll show you again. Let me see. Where are you? It's not a big one, and the company is Artisy. Adapted from artwork by Rosanne Calusia. It's 300 by 240 stitches and 61 colours. And I just think it's charming and cute. And that's me and my husband dancing, because we used to live in the Mediterranean, and when you live in the Mediterranean, you spend most of your evenings outside eating and drinking. That's what you do. And the streets look like that. And it's always hot. Even at 11 midnight, the air is warm and maybe a bit breezy. So I can just relate to that. You know, those were the days. My husband's got he used to have very black hair, much darker than mine even. And for an Irishman, that is actually very rare, I think. You don't get a lot of Irish men with very dark hair. But yeah, and the guy there seems to have very dark hair. So, and she's got the dark, long hair. This chart was made for me, basically. But I don't have a dress like that. So that one, I have actually done a bit of work on it. Where are you? Bear with me. So I'm again at 14% on this one, and not a huge amount, but there we are. Stand up again. And I worked where I'm pointing here, I worked on this side. So I want to try and get to this other end. I'm working it on 1 over 1 for cross. I think I have started this one. Did I start this one on 1 over 1? Yes, this one is completely done on 1 over 1 full cross. So I haven't always been against doing the 1 over 1 full cross, because I've always been known more as a tent stitcher, which lately I kind of lost the love for because of the bulk, I think. So yeah, decided to go this way. I did think maybe I should go down and get into the people, but I also think I should practice the art of patience and just, you know, keep going. Maybe get to the end. So it's not very big. It's only so wide. And the actual piece isn't that huge either. So that one I'm keeping out, hoping that I'm going to get the urge to stitch it a bit more. If only we could just control our urges, and when we want to, you know, things that we want. Let's see, how do we put this right? The things that we want to work on. Not that we want to work on, we want that wanting feeling, right? It doesn't always happen, sadly. So I'm keeping that one out as well. So that's 3 so far. And the next one is the one I need to explain. Okay, so there's a little story with this one. This is called Castle by Jose Eda Rosa, I want to say. It's here. I got that backwards. Eda Jose Rosa, if I want to say it correctly. Castle. Patterns by Stitch is so beautiful. This might be familiar to quite a number of you. I know a few people are doing this. I watched Ebony Stitching with Ebony, I want to say, channel, and she's doing this one as well. She's a lot further along. She's done a bit more at the top of the castle. It looks fantastic. Go and check Ebony out. She's doing some amazing patterns, and she's doing so well. This puts me right to shame. And there are a number of people doing this one. However, what happened with this one was I started it on 28 count. I didn't like it for some reason. I wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't picking it up. But long story short, then some of you may recall I got a piece of 32 count in my stash that I wanted to try. I can't see 32 count for love nor money. So what I did was I found a little magnifier that you can clip. It's a clip-on magnifier that you can clip, and I clipped it onto my Lowry stand. And I started doing the 32 count, and I was all overjoyed. I think I got overly enthusiastic about the fact that I could stitch on 32 count. Then I put it away, and what happened was I didn't get the urge to bring it out again. Then when I did get the urge to bring it out again, I thought, well, you know, there's that should word again. I should work on it. I went to look for my clip thing, and it had scratches on it. And I don't know where the scratches came from, whether it was because I put it in a box with other things that scratched it, or whether the cat had gotten into the box. I'm not really sure. But when I was looking through the magnifier, I was sort of, it's only like a little round thing like this. And I was like, it's just not working. So I put it away again. And then I thought, oh, I'll just have to buy a new one. And I didn't buy a new one. And then came a day when I wanted to work on it and I didn't have the magnifier. Excuse me. I need to take a sip of something now. So then I think, you know what? I looked online, couldn't find something that would come in the next week. I thought, you know what, sod it. I'm just going to go back to my 25 count and I'm going to start again. Then I don't need a magnifier. So it was just a split-second decision. So I took out my 25 count, and I'm very happy because actually I wanted to go back to doing some diagonals, and all of the whips that I'm doing at the moment, they're not in any diagonal format, or if there are, they're just higgledy-piggledy with different techniques because I've changed so many times that when I pull out a project, I don't know whether I'm still doing diagonals or I'm still doing rows. I can't remember, because there's a bit of everything everywhere. So I'm going to start again. I'm going to start cast again and do diagonals. And do them 1 over 1 full cross and see how we go with that, because I wanted to vary it up a little bit. But again, I'm so happy working with one strand. I think that's the main take from this, is that I'm really happy working with one strand and not two. So here we have the first 3 diagonals done. Going into the 4th diagonal, nothing to see, obviously. Love my little Needleminder I made for that one with the castle top. So yeah, where are we on this one? Happy with that. That's what I'm sticking with at the moment. Quite enjoyed the diagonals because this is no way a confetti area. This is all like really fantastic. It's got big massive blocks of colour in the sky. It's like a watercolour painting. So yeah, enjoying going down really quickly with the one strand, and I don't even mind the parking. So for that one, which is staying in my field of vision, it's, what's the total? It's 160,000 actually. That's a lot more than I thought it was going to be. And I'm at not even at 1%, which obviously 0.47%, but I only started that like 2 days ago. So we have quite a way to go with that one, but that's okay. I don't know whether that one's going to come out more frequently. Like I said, I'm going to stop asking myself that question. Next one is one that I have as a kit, and I worked on it recently and I really, really enjoyed that session. So I thought I'm keeping that one out. And it's called, hold on a sec, because I need to I need to get it out of my pouch here. It's called Westminster, and some of you know me well. You'll know that I absolutely love buildings, anything with scenery. I love London, landscapes, city scenes, that kind of thing. Living in Edinburgh is a dream because the buildings here are just spectacular. I mean, we got this Victorian property a couple of years ago, and with the high ceilings, and I just absolutely love it. I just love the character in a place. This is what Westminster looks like. Very atmospheric, which I love. Love that skyline. And I started somewhere in the middle. No idea about number of stitches, but got a fair bit done in my session. And I do have a number of kits, but I felt like I don't want to overwhelm myself, so I'm just going to work on one kit at a time. So this is where I got to. Is that focusing? I hope it's focusing enough. So I finished this clock face. Obviously it needs backstitch, which I haven't done. And I've come, oh, you can see like the 3D effect. What I love about this is that the clock, all this part of the clock down here is 2/1 full cross. And then all this back stuff here is one strand, half stitch. So there's a huge difference in texture, which actually really makes the picture sort of 3D like. I love that. I love that you get that difference. And I'm applying some of that to obviously my height, because of my perfect wisdom, I'm doing the back in tent with 2, and I'm going to do the owl with 1/1. So yeah, it's just a minor thing, which you probably won't really notice once it's framed. But so I'm loving the colours in this, and I just want to keep working on it. So I'm going to let myself keep working on it. I'm not going to even get at all guilty about anything else. The age of guilt is over, guys. The age of guilt is over. Pick out the ones you want to stitch on every single day. Even if it's a different one every day, that's fine. Okay. So I don't think there's any more I can tell you about this one, because it's an anchor kit. It says Maya collection, if you're interested in that one. Very easy to find online. Okay. Right. Looking forward to getting back to that. The next one I'm actually excited to show you, because I started this one again not that long ago. And it's called Cottage Walkway. And I think I showed you guys. It's by Artisy, adapted from artwork by Richard Burns. And I was looking for something. I was looking for something in the vein of like a blue house or a cottage that had a nice composition, with the main subject being the cottage, not like sort of a corner of the cottage. A fair amount of foliage, but not terribly, terribly crazy. The background isn't too bad either. And I find that I tend to go for things that have a contrast. So that's like bright light windows, slightly darker, everything else. So this is Cottage Walkway. I feel like my camera's not picking this up well. I might have to put a picture up. I love the reflections. She's got a lovely composition. And I'm really into cottages. I'm thinking about doing like a lot more of these type, rather than just massive, big, huge ones that I'm never going to get finished. I know it's not all about the finish, but I've just got this visualization of like one wall in my home with just like four cottage type pictures like this in a foursome. Yeah, just seeing that in my head. So I've done a fair bit on this actually. I've gotten to, I am doing this cross country, and I've gotten, I'm going to take it off the hoop now because everything that I've done you can actually see in hoop. I've actually got to the top of the cottage, and I've got one of the little windows in. There is so much detail in this, so much detail. When you look, you might be able to see it on the camera, but there are so many colours in this. There are blues and browns, silvers and golds. It is tremendously detailed, and I love that. The sky, not so much. It's just a mix of lighter yellows and silvery colours. And B5, is it B5 600? I'm not sure if that's the right, B5 200 maybe. So I'm just coming down and sort of picking the one symbol and coming down, but I don't come down too far, so it always keeps it relatively tidy, because I can't do the extreme thing, even with a grid. But I'm enjoying this 25 count. I'm enjoying the freedom, because I never let myself have that freedom. I used to was doing strict rows, and then it was taking a long time when you get to confetti areas. But I'm quite happy now. Last night I finished this little bit here, which is a bit of the pink, getting into the pink foliage now, and continuing with this. I had to come down and do a little bit of the roof, because as you know, when you do so much of this, like trees or foliage or background, it does get a little bit tedious. So I had to come down and see a window at least. But so what I'm planning to do, more or less, is keep coming down and then taking it off, pushing it to the left, continuing with another strip here. That's not set in stone, we'll see. But yeah, really happy. And this one is not a big chart. It's 68,000 stitches, 68,100. And I hit 10.78%, so I'm already 10% in, which to me feels more like a work in progress than when you've only got, like I have with the castle, just a couple of diagonals. I'm so into this at the moment that I feel like my heart's saying to me, just keep going with this one. I love it. So that is definitely going to be worked on quite a bit. So that brings me to the last one that I have got in my, I'm not going to say rotation, because that word is giving me the heebie-jeebies. It's another one in my lovely stash. And this is the one that I was gifted. Okay, it's called Sunflowers, and it's a Bossy Threads. And I don't have, oh, here it is. This was a gift. Look at that, isn't that a beautiful pattern? I totally love that. I think it was 40 centimetres by 40 centimetres. And I've always wanted to do like a little cushion for my sofa, just to put over there on the big armchair. And I think a little cushion like this would be beautiful, because all those lovely colours would pop against my teal background. It is a paper chart, so it takes a little while, but what I'm doing is, I can show you a little bit here, just marking off in pencil my areas that I've done. Haven't done a huge amount. But it's not a big one, so I started in the middle. I think that's the right way around. And that's where I've got to. I think it's 14 count. I was a bit shocked when I saw it was 14, but I actually don't mind working on 14. It's a big step away from the 25, but it's nice to actually be able to see each individual stitch. With the 25, everything just gets blended in together. Sometimes you think, I can't tell one stitch from another. But so it's nice to see bigger stitches, but I think it looks fine on the 14 count. So everything's been worked on in nudge hoops or hoops, because they work better with my Lowry stand, or my Q-snaps I put away. They may come out again at some point, but I don't know when. And everything that I have out is in here, so I can just swap whenever I feel like it. I'm just going to quickly put some of this stuff away. Now that's plenty for me to be getting on with. And I think that once I get a finish, then I'm going to look at the whole situation again, see if I want to reintroduce, because there was, a while back I was thinking about restarting one that I loved, and it was Fairy Whispers. Lisa Parker was it, I think? Another well-known one for some people, and I thought about restarting that one, but it was just a thought, and still sort of in the back of my mind, but not anytime soon, because I really do want to, get a finish as well. I want to finish something. So I've got a fair few smaller ones here on the go. So that's the whips, and no, I haven't bought any new charts or anything like that. I've been able to stay away from the sales. What I did do, and I'm not sure about this, I always use bobbins in a box. That's what I've got for most of my projects. However, I thought about trying out some floss drops. Also about trying to make some floss drops for my Etsy shop. So I had a little look around, see what you need to do and the rest of it. But first I'm going to make some for myself, because I wanted to see how I could manage them, what they looked like on the floss drops, especially when they come off the skeins. So I was kind of, laughing really when I took all the threads off the skeins and did a sort of tentative test run with some card, just general card. And this is what happened. Yep, I call it the kinked out tragedy. And I think some of you might even recognize this if you've done this yourself. And some people have said to me, just go and steam it. I assume steam it with some kind of protective fabric over it. But I'm scared of the whole thing just going catching fire or just shriveling up even more. I don't know. So if you've got experience with steaming these, just let me know what you think. So I put them on the cards, and one thing I'd always wondered about was, what do you do? I know you take a thread and you use one of the threads. I know how to pull the thread out. If you go and watch Catkin and Lily's channel, she's got a wonderful video showing you how to make these floss drops or get them onto the card, cut up all the skeins and everything. So the one question I had was, if I've got a little piece of thread, what do I do with it? If I put it in here, is it going to fall out again? That kind of thing. By the way, I would have thought my cat would have gone nuts with this, but she hasn't really paid any attention to it at all. So I don't know what's going on with that, but it's a good thing. So here's an example of 931. I put a little bit of a leftover here. I haven't had practice picking that out and putting it back, etc. So I'm keen to do that. This is the one project that I've put on because I won't have the will to live to put 10 projects or whatever onto. This took me like 3 or 4 days. So if I was to do all of them, first of all, I don't know where to hang them. I don't have a system. I know there's a lot of systems out there, but I don't have one. And I just feel like I just don't have the will to do all of that work right now anyway. So I'm going to use them on there and see how I get on with that first before I go crazy and change everything and then regret it later. So I don't want to do that. It does look like a good system. I know a lot of people use floss drops, but I also wanted to practice making them so that I could show you guys. The other thing that I did buy before I move on to the Needleminders, I got this beautiful William Morris design item from, there's a store here called John Lewis. So it's a big like superstore, and it has a little haberdashery section, And I got this there and I thought, oh, what's this? I was really curious as what it was inside. And I just thought it was the cutest thing. I don't know if you can actually find this online. I don't know what you'd call this kind of box. But just look at this. If I turn it this way, when you take the lid off, look at that. It opens up into these beautiful 5 sections. So it's got a William Morris pincushion in the middle. It's got some threads, little scissors, a thread picker. I forget what you called that thing now. It's got a couple of needles on this side and a measuring tape. And I just thought, oh my God, that is so sweet. That is so different. I haven't seen anything like that before. And then you just close it up again. It just seems to have a little bit of everything that you might need to hand. And they even had a few little pins inside there as well. And it actually wasn't that costly. It certainly didn't cost, I think it was about £20, which would equate to about $28 maybe. Well, I wouldn't say it's that much because it looks, the card is pretty thick. It's got a nice base and it looks pretty sturdy. So that goes on my mantle. So when I'm stitching in here, if I need something really quickly, like well, I've always got a pair of snips, but if I want the measuring tape or I want the thread tool, I can get it really quick. So I'm glad I remembered to show you this because they might have other ones online that are not of this brand that do this. But yeah, it's just so different, and it looks like a little ornament thing when I put it on the mantle. Nobody would really know what it is. It looks like a bit like a music box until I show it to them. So it's kind of like, oh, look at this little curiosity that I found. And when I'm working on my Bossy Threads William Morris Sunflowers design, that kind of matches. Right, so I think I don't want to forget anything. There was a couple of things. So, okay, so before I do the giveaway winners, before I announce those, I just want to quickly show you the needle minders that I have made recently. And I always want to thank those of you who buy my needle minders. You are so lovely to do that. I'm so happy that you like them, honestly. It's the first time in my life that I've ever really made something which I feel like is actually worth making and that people actually like. And I'm just so grateful that I can do it and that you like it, because it does give me a nice little thing to do. Aside from, excuse me, aside from the stitching, I like to be creative in other ways as well. But with the market so saturated with so many things, I always want to come out with something of my own that might be a bit original, that might be incorporating my own artwork into, which I'm going to show you now. So there's just a few needle minders going up today that I've made. New ones. People seem to like the sparklies, so they come in different shapes, and there's a lot more on the page as well, a lot more in the shop. So take a look, and I've got my needle minders backs which I have been using for the past year. So this is my drawing of a dragon eye which I made out of needle minders, and I created a set of floss drops with about 300 GSM card onto a ring. So you get the floss drop and you can match it with the needle minder. The thing with these is, and I'll be totally honest here, I don't know if they're actually worth making and selling, because if you compare the amount of ink that's used on each one, plus the card that you need to print it on, plus the time and effort of cutting them all out, doing the holes and everything, this is most of a day. I know it doesn't sound like it, but it is, because the card that I have wouldn't go through my printer, so I had to stick all the pictures onto each card. Then wait for it to dry. Then add, if you want to add a varnish or something, then cut each little one. And then use the thing to make the tags. All of a day or two to get the whole thing done. So you can't make too many because then it's just not worth your time. So looking at the prices that a lot of these sell for, you think, so I've seen a set going for £5. Is it really worth the whole day's work for £5, less than $10? This is the stuff you have to think about. So I don't know about producing these more in the future. I don't know if it's because obviously as a seller, you need to look at your time primarily versus how much it's going to cost you to use so much ink, which is using a lot of ink to print out 2 card sheets for that. Here's another set that I made of my artwork, and this is a full 2 sheets of card with my artwork, and I have a little Needleminder to match. And I thought that was something cute. But again, I'm not 100% sure that these, because you can make Needleminders in batches. These take ages in comparison. They just do. I've done both. So we'll see. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, these 2 are up for sale. If anybody likes them, I think I put them at a fair, decent price for the time it's taken me to actually produce them. But yeah, I don't know about the whole making them all the time thing. I'd have to look again into the costs, and because I don't want to produce something that's of low quality, but I also don't want to produce something that's of high quality and then charge peanuts for it, because I don't feel like that's fair. So I'm trying to be as fair as possible. I think that kind of makes sense. So that's that. Let's talk about the giveaway winners. I think this is coming nearly to the end of the video. You've been very patient. So it's almost an hour, which is great. So let's see if we don't go over the hour. So there's nothing else. Oh, wait a minute. We'll do books. We'll do books first. Just want to quickly do that. This is the book I've almost finished reading. It's called Outlander. I'm sure loads of you have watched the TV series or read the books as well. I've got the whole set of books here. They're over in that shelf. And I think I've seen a couple of seasons. I haven't seen all the seasons. I need a sip of my cold tea now. I feel my nose tickling. Some of you don't know I've got allergies as well, so I end up getting itches, especially in the summer. Don't worry, I don't have fleas. I just get little itchy things. So I've got about that much left to read, and it's interesting. It's interesting for me because since I've been living in Scotland, I've got quite used to different Scottish accents. And when you read the dialogue in this book, there's quite a bit of that as well. So I don't know how easy the dialogue in the book with the Scottish sort of tones, or whatever you want to call it, the way of speaking is a bit distracting for people who are not familiar with it. But it's like I've heard it in the street, so I think, oh yeah, I know what they're saying. Like there's one word they use here which means no. Like you can say, I know what day it is. They could say, I ken, K-E-N. I ken what day it is. Ken means I know, or just know, to know something. I ken whatever comes after that. So I didn't have to think, what does that mean? Because I live in Scotland and I've learned it. I don't use it myself, but it sounds weird when I say it. It doesn't sound right because I don't have a Scottish way of speaking. My accent is just completely standard, dry English. Yes. But I enjoyed that, so I'm nearly finished that one. I got 2 books in a sale in a store that sells computer games, so I found that a bit strange. But I've got 2 books for $2.99 for 2 books, or $5.99 each. I thought, wow, that's a big difference. $2.99 for 2, or 5 each. So I thought I have to get 2, right? So I got these 2, which I think a lot of people recognize this author. I don't think I've read any of her books. This is not particularly the genre I would normally go for. Normally I go for historical fiction in every sense. Okay, this is set in 1974. It's a little bit historical, but not quite. So I'm looking forward to reading that one. And same author again, Kristen Hannah, The Nightingale. I got this one. I've got loads of books in my queue. You can't see in my shelf over there, but there's tons of books. And I just don't know when I'm going to get around to reading them. I've also got like a ton of books on my Kindle. I've got books in my Audible. I've got just books everywhere. They're just like exploding in my head. It's another reason why I need to find more balance with everything. I'm also knitting a few things as well, which I think I'll show you next time, because yeah, we don't want to make this too overly long-winded. You're probably already fallen asleep by now. So let's get on with the giveaway winners from my last video, and then we can call it a day. So we had 2 Needleminders to give away, 2 different shapes. So what I did was I got all of the names, typed them into an online thingamajig, and pressed the magic button, and then 2 names came back, separating them into a scenery needleminder and a rabbits needleminder. So for the scenery needleminder, we have the winner, Nicola at Coffee and Cross Stitch. Nicola is the handle. I'll put up a little, or at least I'll put up her comment to the video where I was hosting the giveaway. And this is the needleminder that you have won, Nicola. It's a little scenery down on a pier. So if you would like to email me at thestitchywitchscotland@gmail.com, give me your email address and I will send this off to you ASAP. That would be fantastic. Well done. And also we have a winner for the rabbits needleminder, which is a round shape. This is one from my nature collection. Diana at Diana Stitching. You have won the rabbits with the resin. Is that focusing? I don't know. There we are. 4 centimeter. It's got the magnet at the back. Well done, Diana. If you're watching, could you please just send me an email with your address, what have you, both of you, and I'll send that off as soon as I can. So that's it. I think there is nothing else. I managed to get through everything, had all this information in my head this morning, and now I finally feel like I've lost a kilo. It's all gone. So my friends, it's lovely to be back, and of course I will definitely be back again to share more things with you very soon. I hope you're all enjoying your summer and getting all the stitching in that you want to do. And yeah, that's all I can say really. Thanks for stopping by and supporting my channel, supporting my shop. I really appreciate it. And I will be back again shortly. So take care and I'll see you. Bye.